Doug MPA back with another video. So this past weekend, The Little Mermaid came out. It was a live-action remake of a 1989 classic. They race-swapped the main character and redid it for modern audiences. And like a lot of these live-action movies, Disney takes the pandering to the woke up to 11. Well, they tried to pander to the woke and they lost because you see articles like this one. This Sarah Stewart writing for CNN says in this article, I hated The Little Mermaid. Now she is literally a member of the demographic that Disney tries to pander to with these live action remakes. We're going to see why she hated this movie. Before I do that, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me and what I'm doing over here. And let's see what Sarah Stewart has to say about Little Mermaid. She says, Disney's 1989 The Little Mermaid was at once a masterpiece of the brand and a somewhat cringy retelling of a very dark Hans Christian Andersen tale. The story of a mermaid who would give up her voice to be with the men of her dreams. It falls neatly into Disney canon of plucky, curious teenage women whose pluck and curiosity mostly end up leading them into early marriage, but it's also a ton of fun with a dazzling Howard Ashman Alan Menken score, an iconic villain in Ursula, and a hilarious menacing sequence about cooking fish. Disney had decades to think about how to update The Little Mermaid for new generations of viewers, which make the dual overlong, dimly lit, and still pretty sexist product they've just released completely baffling. Then she talks about them getting rid of certain songs and how dark the movie is. But she says, I can report that the children in my small town movie theater were checked out at best. More than one kid was wandering around the aisles by the time we passed the 90-minute mark of the 135-minute affair, which begged the question, who exactly is this movie for and why does it exist? See, pundits on the internet, with any sense, have been asking that since they announced this movie. And our questions were stifled by claims of, if you don't like this movie, you're racist, or if you don't like this movie, you're sexist. If you don't like this movie, you're a misogynist, blah, blah, blah. But now the wokey wokes, like this lady, are asking this question. It's just a shame that this movie had to come out first and had to bomb, because yes, it is on the way to bombing. It did well domestically, but internationally it sank. It's just a shame that these movies have to come out for people like Sarah to finally wake up to this crap. This latest chapter in Disney's never-ending quest to impose all of its hits on us again in live-action format is a profound miscalculation on almost every level, especially about how to revisit a beloved animated property that boasts some pretty problematic themes. This feels lousy to say because I was rooting for a huge success to follow the noxious backlash to the trailer last year. Some people apparently couldn't handle the audacity of reinventing a cartoon character as a black actress. It's not about that, though. We know the playbook. If they're race swapping major characters, it means the quality of movie isn't gonna be good. It's like they know if they race swap characters, they don't have to do a lot of work. It's formulaic at this point. And why can't they research new stories? Okay, I'm all about black Disney princesses, but there have been plenty of stories and plenty of cultures Disney can appropriate that are from black cultures. It's just so lazy. But star Haley Bailey in the role of Ariel has nothing to apologize for. She's the best thing about the movie. Unfortunately, that's faint praise. A lot of ink and pixels have testified to the value of black children and their moms being able to see themselves in a Disney heroine, and that's a powerfully admirable goal as well as long overdue one, given the brand's still overwhelmingly white majority of characters. Unfortunately, director Rob Marshall's approach sets a tone of violence at the beginning rather than inspiration. The film kicks off with a sequence in which the crew of Prince Eric's trade ship lean and leer over the edge, throwing harpoons at something in the water, a whale, a mermaid. It's never quite clear. I can't believe the kids in my screening had imagined a movie called The Little Mermaid beginning this way. Then there's the runtime, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So the original was 1 hour and 23. The time expansion is such a comically bad decision. I still can't get my head around it. Nothing little kids like more than sitting still for 2 hours. Most recently, Disney remakes have kept it at least under the 2 hour mark, with the exception of Beauty and the Beast and Cruella. Um, she says, everywhere you look, a detail about the movie has been slightly altered, but most end up being empty gestures rather than meaningful ones. For example, King Triton um, mostly looks bored, still having a bunch of adoring daughters who follow his every command, except now they're a rainbow of ethnic diversity. So what's the message here? Diversity is good as long as patriarchy remains intact. God, these lefty wokes. God, ugh. Sorry about this article, guys, but we're going to get through it. When Bailey's Ariel gives up her voice in exchange for a human body with 3 days to kiss the prince, she also is given amnesia about the kiss, which handily removes the fun from the original film of having her be an active participant in trying to get the smooch. And in this iteration, Ursula's show-stopping number, Poor Unfortunate Souls, they've removed the lines in which she smacks down Ariel's doubts about losing her voice. Then she talks about um, Lin-Manuel Miranda, the guy that wrote Hamilton, added some music, and he was the one that wrote that awful Aquafina Scuttlebutt song. If you guys haven't heard it, you haven't missed anything. It's awful. Said, but the number is so tonally different, it brings the scene to a screeching halt. If there's one unifying quality to all of these tweaks, is that there aren't going to convince any of the 1989 movie fans that this one is worth their time and money. More broadly, Disney's painted the movie with the broad brush of corporate studios' vision for what we think will put butts in seats. There we go. And that's what I'm talking about. It's formulaic at this point. Race swap some characters, make the female characters boss babes, make the guys idiots, and we're going to, it's going to sell out. Yeah, well, I think this is a turning point, you guys. We're finally reaching a turning point. Says, which consists mostly of gloomy, underlighted visuals, which audiences are in reality very tired of, and extensive action scenes. The 11th hour standoff in which McCarthy's Ursula grows to Godzilla proportions is so very dark that you can barely see her, which begs the question of how much bad CGI they are trying to cover up. As Hollywood continues to wring its hands about the decline of moviegoing, Little Mermaid doesn't feel like it's going to be an asset in that fight, let alone inspire many repeat viewings. I imagine any parent who's known the earworm of Let It Go from Frozen will know this is damning indeed. Maybe a cool reception will inspire a little more introspection for Disney before next spring's release of the next remake, Snow White. What could go wrong? Guys, we're finally seeing turning points in this. Okay? Little Mermaid is not going to do well. And you can look at other videos from other creators talking about the numbers. I haven't seen any of these live action remakes, and I don't plan on it. And I hope you guys join me in this too. And not only that, but there are plenty of good movies coming out next weekend. Spider-Man's coming out next weekend. Go see that instead. Let me know what you think about this. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.